Hey Monolith, how are you, man? Have I tried Redshift or Arnold? Yeah, I tried them. No, sorry, to correct. I never tried Redshift because it is expensive and I never have the money to do so. But I did, I know Arnold. I'm not an expert in Arnold because, again, like knowing Arnold to not knowing Arnold, but like if you want to take advantage of Arnold to the like to the highest level, then you need to, you need to spend way more time digging deep, do experiments, and, like educating yourself about the different nodes and how they work and like what potential they can. And every day, like there is like a new use case for these kind of nodes. Because someone who have more like, out of the box way of thinking, they would come up with, like all kind of things. And there's like also like the official stuff. Like if you watch their channel or you watch like a tutorial by someone who is an expert in the field, and they will tell you. But then there's like the more typical use case of these kind of renderers that's kind of like similar to like no matter what you use, whether you use like if you use Redshift or Arnold or V-Ray or any one of these renderers, you would still like be using them in that kind of way. Like adding a material with color, and that color, like define it whether it's metallic or plastic, or like a glass with, like transmission, SSS, and so on and on. And how to do like, like displacement map and all these kind of things. When it comes to these, yeah, I've tried it. I worked with it. I, sometimes even was successful at recreating certain type of materials that I wanted to have. But I don't use it as often, especially nowadays. But every now and then, like I'll end up like finding myself like, using it for different kind of reasons. Sometimes a freelance, sometimes I'm teaching a student and they, like they have like like they have a course that's Maya basics. So it's not like for games, like at the beginning you don't like specialize as a gaming or not. You just like learning Maya as a tool and what do you have inside of Maya, and usually you end up like having a project that you need to finish. And sometimes also like I have students from the VFX industry, so that's their render choice of option. So yeah, why are you asking, Monolith? Do you have like any questions about it, or just like you wondering? Let's see. Now I'm kind of like conflicted. We have the profile. I feel like the nose is tall, but if I move it, it means like if I move it up, it means like more of her like lip will be exposed. But if I move the lip up, then I have more of the chin exposed. Maybe I should, I'll give it a try. Who cares, Like to be good at something, you need to be, daring. Like you need to be daring, not scared of, doing any like major changes and stuff. What I want to change to my user interface is this. So I want to go to transform, right? And I want to add posable symmetry and delete posable symmetry. So where do I want to put those two buttons? I don't have much space. To be honest, like I don't use clay polish. Maybe for now we could just get rid of clay polish and maybe put it there. But let's like look, what would be like a good place in my interface? I don't want to install unnecessary tools. Redshift renders look vibrant, while Arnold has a line art thing which is superior. Well, again, it is dependent on like the your client, your studio you work for, or like the target like client. So say like you're trying to apply for a job, and that they do Arnold or Redshift, then that should be like your answer. Now, if you're not like specific, you don't know like where you're applying or what kind of client you're gonna end up with, then you just pick one and you stick with it, and then that would be kind of like a defining feature for you. So like you probably will be, much more ready for tasks that requires Redshift, and it will give you an advantage because people, personal use, I would say Arnold. Like there's no debate in it because it's free. Now I know like you could have like your ways into like using it free, like getting it from like the deep oceans, if you know what I'm talking about. If that's the case, then then I would say go. To be honest, like if I were to choose, if I have the choice, I would like gravitate toward Redshift because it's much faster than Arnold, because it's a GPU renderer and it does have a a good quality. Now the reason why would I choose Arnold would be because it is like native inside of Maya. It is used heavily in the industry, and it's cheap. Like you don't have to pay anything. It comes with Maya and so on. But if you have like the choice to choose one of them, like it doesn't matter. Like if you're rich and you don't care about money, then maybe go Redshift. And also like courses and material to study it. If you can get enough education in that, because sometimes like something might not have enough tutorials for it out there. So maybe do your research before and see like what type of tutorials out there, and is it good enough? Do you have enough of them? For example, I'll tell you, the other like a couple of months ago, or maybe even more, like half a year ago or something, I had a student and she wanted to learn RenderMan. So I went ahead and like got a copy of RenderMan, and I guess it was kind of like a trial version, something like that. Or maybe they have a free version. I forgot exactly how it was. And then like my problem was, because I wanted to teach it to her, I didn't find enough tutorials. Like there wasn't enough people teaching RenderMan. So like luckily, I guess I found one tutorial by Noman that was good enough. It gave me a nice introduction. And what you have in YouTube isn't like none of it was an in-depth. Maybe there was like unknown channels that I did not get my hand on, but that's kind of like, again, like usually you don't discover these things until like you start consuming these type of contents. Then like eventually either by a forum or Reddit, or like another teacher will recommend it, or maybe YouTube will recommend it to you because they discovered, okay, this dude is consuming a lot of Redshift, or in this case I was talking about RenderMan, a lot of RenderMan. Then they will push more RenderMan toward you, and you happen to discover that okay, there's like this amazing channel that teaches Redshift. But at the beginning, or RenderMan, but at the beginning, for example, I'm telling you, RenderMan doesn't have enough tutorials. That's a problematic thing. So for example, if you ask me, what should I learn? Should I learn XGen or Yeti? Both of them are hair plugins. XGen is native inside of Maya. Yeti is something that you have to download. Yeti is cool and whatnot, but again, like there is very little, tutorials for it out there. It's better than RenderMan from my experience, but still, it's and usually they will be outdated, kinda, because like now we have like whatever version, like the version that came with like 2026 Maya. And like whatever out there is, it's still like usable, but like it lack a lot of like the new nodes or new techniques that was introduced to Yeti. So that's trouble. If that's your case, to be honest, go with Arnold, because Arnold's inside Maya. Like don't put in yourself like this annoyance that you want to get like. Even if you can get it, like from the deep oceans, even if you can get the copy, it's still like I don't see the benefit. You're not actually an expert, and all renderers at the base level, they're very similar. The only advantage would be probably like it is faster. That like, so if you have like a good GPU, but like your PC is not too strong, but like you have a decent GPU, then maybe Redshift would be a better choice. I'm doing like changes, but I think like these changes that I'm doing now are relatively destructive. Okay, so the idea is that we want to move this. I want to hide. I want to move this off or away. I'm going to bring the concept so that I'm looking at it. Look at her from like an angle like this. And let's see. So a little bit we're gonna move this up to shorten the distance for the nose. Yeah, maybe like that. I'm not very happy with the chin. So if I undo, yeah, that's not too much. Maybe let's push it a bit more. I want to see like in general her lips. So let me just look at like something, because the one that I'm looking at, she have her lips closed. Yeah, so I do believe we need to move the lips a bit higher so they're closer to the nose than what we have at the moment. Right. And then probably that will lead us to, shorten the chin. For now, I'm not gonna do anything with the chin, so I'll leave it. And the lips, I'm not gonna do like an extreme thing, but I think we need to, just a bit push it higher. We'll see. How long have you been, by the way, learning 3D monolith? Like, are you new to 3D? Have you been like, because sometimes people like they're not new, but they've been like doing it as a hobbyist for too long, and they never like, because due to circumstances and like due to like not believing in yourself or not having enough time to, because you have other things like study, like you have school or you have a job that consume most of your time. So sometimes people like spend years as a hobbyist and never like get that much better at it. Like they will progress, but their progress will be very, very slow. I want to reduce this. Yesterday I struggled with a face sculpt since I only had the front view. I got frustrated. I used a previous head as a base to fix it. The front stayed the same, but the side profile was fixed. ZBrush, it's been like 1 month, I guess. Okay, that's not too long, man. You're still relatively new to this, so yeah. If anything, you're really good if that's like the only experience you have. And are you kind of like doing it with the intention of, eventually work in this in the industry in the field, or is it for you will always be like this is just more of a hobby, or you have not yet figured maybe this is not like something you figured yet? So I wanted to add the posable symmetry. I forgot about that. So enable and maybe get rid of this. And just for now, because I don't want to spend time trying to think it, I'll add posable, use posable symmetry down there, and then delete posable symmetry under. Let's see if I have UVs. I'm not sure if I don't think I made a UV. Actually, let me just export the lowest resolution version of this one and send it. I think I can't do it because I have layers, but we'll see. We'll see. Actually, we can. No. Change my mind. I think we can. So what we could do is let's just export like body for UV. And let's just select it from ZBrush and hit save. Let's just open Maya. I think I should move on now to doing more things and keep an open mind to always coming back, do more details, do more stuff. So like the next step with the UV, it would be UV and trying to add skin detail like skin pores and stuff. And then like do a basic texture again using probably similar technique. And after that would, we kind of decide like how much do we want to, because I'm pretty sure like this is like not yet done by any mean. And of course like this is as a project is not done at all. Did I change the eye? What do you mean by the eye? I feel like her lids are heavy. But no, I don't think they're heavy. They could be thick though. But then again, like you have the eye shape. I did some tweaks because I had like these biases in them, but that based on the like the older image there. I'm looking at an image. Hey Cookie, welcome to this team. So I made it less, so how to say it? So the eye was more biased in the, here. It was biased in this direction, right? So it was doing something like this. And same thing for the other eye. Right? But I said no, because I was looking at another image and she can like have more differences between the left and the right. So I was following that, and still she have some, bias here. You can still see it happening there. And I don't like, you might say, but the previous one was looking better, like it looked like her more. And if that's the case, oops. I would say, oops. I didn't notice, or at least like I thought that this would look better, and we can like I shot myself in the foot. Okay. So again, let's now go to Maya. Oh, nice. Good job. Okay, I'll save this in case things crashes. Like who knows? This might crash. So we'll save it. And with this version, we have, at least a layer to protect us. And let's jump to the desktop and open this. I want to create a new file. And in here, we're going to go import. And what we will be doing... what we will be doing is we want to go up in the hierarchy, go to OBJ from ZBrush body for UV, and let's check, do we have any UVs? Nope, 0 UV. Now based on her clothes, so let me just look, we're gonna end up with something like probably this. So we don't need to have a seam line here. Although that is like would be a nice place to have the seam line, so probably I'll make like the head up to this point maybe, so that it's hidden under there, or maybe like up to the shoulders, not sure. So let's just do I wanna You know what? I will make the head and it will have a seam, but what I will be doing is I will use like a UV tile for the upper section so that it's the same size, and the rest will be on a smaller UV tile. I don't think we see her legs because she's gonna be like wearing pants, but we will see her, you know, like midsection there. But then again, and then like, who cares? You're not gonna see like much skin detail. So, starting with this, go to the UV space. And while we are in the UV space, let's just do a major projection. Let me just hide the grid. So do a projection, and we do that by first select, then go mapping, planar, and I want it to be planar on the Z axis, apply, there we go. Got to gaslight myself into thinking that I always complete my projects so that I actually complete them. Okay, so now we want to create seams. Best seams would be, let's starting with this. Yeah, so, and down there, that's a seam. And it would be a good thing to do it symmetrically because this will save us time. So on X, double click, there we go. So we have two seams there. We do something similar to the, there, yeah, there. So we have that one. So we'll do another one for the hand. Yeah, another one for the foot. Yes. Maybe lower, again, not sure. Maybe here. Let's see. Yeah, there. And we got most of it. Yeah, we need to separate the head. So probably I'll do it there. Yeah. It's weird that it did not give me a different zone. Yeah, there we go. So now we end this just temporarily, and let's just focus on this. And let's just do it like that. Double click, move it away. This is gonna be the head. And first let's just do the head and focus our time on the head. And after that we decide like what do we do with the other stuff. So looking at the ears from the back, let's just add some seams there. Maybe I should also like do a Dewey topology there. Well, let's see. It doesn't hurt to repeat stuff every now and then. So we go back to symmetry, although like this probably is not gonna have a topological symmetry because it's not like actually symmetrical at the moment. Yep. So we do this and we're gonna go behind the ears, double click on this one, double click on this one. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There too, and there, and finally that one, and that one. So now if we look at it, we have the ears detached. I want to have the inside of the eye also detached because there is no need for that. The inside of the mouth also. We don't need it. There maybe, yeah. Just for now. Everything is open to be changed, like open for a change. We'll do that. So we have this. Let's move the ears away, turn off symmetry, move ears away, move this. And now when we do unfold, I want to keep, yeah. So now we will do it from here up to right there. So let's just select that one, double click that one, and so select this, unfold, and we're gonna do something similar but down here, maybe not all the way to the bottom, and unfold one more time. What if we just do the entirety of this and unfold again? Not too bad. As a starting, like for a starter, this is not too bad. So I'll select all of these UVs and let's just scale them down vertically. And we'll unfold it horizontally first. I don't know why I did that one there. I don't think that's realistic there. Let's see. Yeah, that's unrealistic. So we'll push it somewhere there. And we will push this, even this, like I feel it's unrealistic. So I'll do it, manually. Try to estimate. Okay. And from there, what we need to do is I want to select the middle section there and unfold it vertically. Yeah. And then unfold this horizontally. Let's see what does that do. Yup, that's kind of okay. What if I just, selected the entire thing except for the bottom section? And here, what if we unfold this? Yeah, it does. It get to that weird result. I'll select up to that point. Or actually, what we could do is select up to that point. Oops. And what we could do there is we need to go to the UV toolkit and do align. We align those. Oops, where did it go, man? Yeah, we have a vertex there selected, I see. So we'll do that, and in here, if I select this one, yeah, we know that we need to select that one. So let's just select these manually. Align it to the right. And then let's select all that's in between, like so. And unfold it horizontally. Unfold horizontally. And now what we want to do is we want to do maybe all of this. I want to do vertically. So let's see if... Actually, I want to select everything to that point. And see how it's just going to generate the vertical unfold. Yeah, that's okay. So let's look at the seam where it exists. So the seam is up here, which is nice. We can't even technically make it lower, but I'm happy with that. And down here we don't have a seam technically, which is not a bad thing. It's always better to have few of those than to have as many of them. And yeah, say like this is kind of like double click and put it, map it to the middle one. Yeah, there. I'm doing layout. I think I need to reset my layout. Okay, reset, right? And there it is. So actually when I do reset, I still want to have padding, and that should be 4x4 and apply. What we could do for those is just like a simple unfold. Actually the ears, I want them here. They will be easier to deal with if there was part of the head. So let's just add the ears here, and probably we'll just unfold that section and unfold that section, right? Here we'll select those and then unfold, and there you go. The inside of the eye and the inside of the mouth. And what we could do is select this and get its if we go to transform, we get you know, get the pixel density, and now we can just set pixel density to that. And we can do now like layout, but what we could do with the layout is the following, is to stop it from doing any scaling. And off even here, and hit apply. So this way they stay the same size. We can move it above the head. Okay, so there is a lot of empty space here. So if we select the rest of the body, what we could do is up to here, we can include it. But I don't know how that would look like, so let's just give it a try. Now looking at this here, let's try and find a nice place to do the cut. So maybe here at this line, I'll see again, maybe I'm wrong, but we can't say for sure until we're done. Got a question, can you technically texture a model straight from the high res of the mesh? Like the high res has a tone to material, and the blending between material, and you just bake that. Okay, let me just think it through. So you want to use the high res. So is the high res using like a flat color, or do you mean like having a matte cap that's, let's say, and like we started with a matte cap that's have orange in it to begin with, and you want now to just like wherever you added like the little like shading to take it away from like just like pure orange, like have maybe like lips and stuff, ton of material. Okay, so ton of material like texture have. So as I said, like if it's just pure color information, you just need to bake the color. If it's like information coming from the material itself, so it's not part of your object. So if I go to ZBrush here, and if I change to this is not an actual color. This is just the matte cap, right? So you need to be careful with that. This is the matte cap. But if I'm talking about like, say that I went and I switched to RGB and I start painting red, yellow and whatnot, then this is poly paint, right? Or like vertex paint. If we're talking about a vertex paint, we can convert the vertex paint, because technically you can still have the vertex paint, you know, shipped with your high resolution mesh. Like when you take your high resolution mesh, say from ZBrush, and take it to Maya or Blender, you can still retain that vertex color. And especially if you're in Blender, because you're still like staying inside of Blender, so that like, you know, color, like vertex color will go with you. not necessarily matcap, but imagine you have two materials and all the texturing you are doing is making a blending mask between those materials. Blending mask. So you have like two materials and you can like blending between them, which is kind of like a pipeline we don't have in ZBrush. Can you bake it? I do believe yes. I do believe yes, but I forgot how it's done in Blender, but I do believe yes, you can bake that information as your final, actual texture. Like let's say you want to take that model from Blender to Maya, so Maya wouldn't understand like the shader that you built inside of Blender, right? Or you want to take it to Unreal Engine or Unity, so you want to convert everything back to, regular texture, like a real texture, not like layered materials. So you could do that. There is a way. If you want, I could like just, I have a tutorial, but I need to look, like rewatch that section. I could give you like, probably, hopefully that what you're trying to like point at. I could give you that. But what you will need to do anyway, like you still need to have the UV. You need to have the UV. Of course, like you could bake it on your high res as an actual maps and then bake those maps to the low resolution mesh. That's one way. Or say like you already, your low res and your high res is just like the same mesh, but you have like divided the low res to get the high res and you did this on the high res. So you could technically like, it will be automatically like once you bake that information, it will be baked on the UV, which is a shared UV. If there wasn't a UV, you probably have to go and like just create a UV for your model and then you would bake it. Okay, so we have this. And behind here, we're gonna do something like this. Okay, so we have that section, which is the neck and the neck and the shoulder. Our seam could still be at the back, but I don't think that would be enough in this case. We could technically have a side seam, otherwise it wouldn't unfold properly. And do we need to do that? Maybe, yeah, a side seam so we don't have like the seam back there. So maybe here or here we do that seam. Actually, let me turn on symmetry because this is getting repetitive. And now we'll select this. Let me turn off symmetry because it's annoying when we do that. And if I do unfold, and let's just rotate this. And now if I put it to the same, yeah, see there. So this is a little bit bigger than, that's the problem. This is bigger than the UDIM, right? So we cannot like contain it in one UDIM. But what I could do, because that's technically what I want, for this to still like work, and actually now the seam will be visible because this need to be as wide, which is weird, and that will cause a bad distortion. We could technically like bring back this to the like more regular here, so that seam is more manageable. But what we could do, let's do this. And let's just move. This will suck. This is gonna look ugly, man. What we could do now is I could just move this down, let's select what's in between, and we select those vertices. Actually, let's just do this. This is not ideal. Oh, that's too much. Nasty. Why it's doing this? Come on. This is not symmetrical. But I guess because, yeah, there is like, first, like, we need to unfold this. What we could do technically is we could just cut this in the middle there, so that, you know, I have that, and this way, like, we could just align this to that, right? And probably like all of those, align them to the center line, and then like the in between here, we could unfold it. It would be better if we have like a necklace or something to hide the seam. We didn't have to bother about this. Let me just unfold it on the U, yeah, there. And probably this will be straight also. I'll line it up to the top. And now, for these here, let's just unfold them only vertically. Like between here and there, we'll unfold those only vertically. And that caused this to go into this weird looking shape. Where is my tools? Tools, unfold brush. Yeah, it does not like that. But that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is, let me just try and do it manually. I will take these off. Oops. Okay, I need to end the stream, guys. That's it for today's stream. And yeah, let me know, Cookie, if you want me to, if that's what you're asking about. I could look up, because I watched that tutorial like probably like a couple of months ago. I was trying to learn Unreal Engine, and he was doing something, and he took it from Blender to Unreal Engine, and I think he used something similar. So he was like building like a complex shader, because Blender would allow for such thing, and then he baked it. Like the final result was baked. I'm not sure, like, did he bake it or did he just create a mask or something? But anyway, we'll continue with the UV next time. And let me just save this just to be safe. I forgot if I saved it. And we'll see you next stream. It could be tomorrow or the day after. Maximum, I hope, like, no later than Thursday, but I will try to have even more. Tonight, like, after like couple of hours, I might stream, but I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow I'll do like a late evening stream. We'll see. So, just keep an eye, like, while you surfing the YouTube. If you want and you saw me, just come and say hi. I would appreciate that. Have a good day, guys.